Welcome to the Alchemist Nation podcast. We are a community of business and real estate professionals who are on a shared mission to help every individual achieve financial freedom through right action, the right knowledge, and the right accountability. Join me, Andrew MacMurray, and my co-host, Mitch Jaworski, as we find and interview those who have mastered wealth and who have a desire to share their wisdom with you. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Alchemist Nation podcast, and we have an awesome episode for you this week. It is with Michael Schein. I am here with my co-host, Andrew MacMurray. My name is Mitch Jaworski, and we are going to take you on a journey through another wonderful podcast. Our guest this week is Michael Schein. He is a real estate investor. He is a closing attorney with his firm Blay title, and he is also the author of the book Fast Track to Millions, which is a book about using partnerships to fast track to millions. So with that said, Mike, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you. And really, we'd love to hear about how you got into real estate and how your real estate venture is going before we kind of dive into other things.
Sure. Thanks. Nice to see you guys, Andrew, Mitch. I did have a little foray into real estate maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but I joke around. We bought a 2-family in Pawtucket after reading the book The Millionaire Next Door. And but when we did that one, I joke around that everybody made money but me. The lender made money, the realtors made money, the contractors made money, fixed up a place, and then I kind of panicked, sold it, and made $3,000. So it took like 15 years before we jumped back in. So actually what happened is Brenda, my amazing wife, her mom moved in with us, and that was kind of a strange thing. So we were looking for a place close by for her to live. So we found a cottage 2.5 miles. And from here, little 430 square foot cottage that the realtor told us was too small. And Brenda was like, this is perfect. And it ended up being perfect. So that was the first thing. We bought this little cottage and she lived in it. And after, unfortunately, she passed away. But after she passed away, we turned that into Airbnb for a year, and now we just do it as a long-term rental that we barely think about. It's amazing. So that was the first one, little 430-foot cottage. That
is literally the epitome of starting small. I love it.
Yeah. I after that, it's almost like we're accidental real estate investors, because the next one was my law firm was based, that I was a partner in, was based in Pawtucket. So I was driving over a half hour every day. And there was this small building right here in North Kingstown that was like a house that had been renovated with like outdoor stairs made out of like pressure treated wood. So instead of a 1905 house, it was an office on the first floor and a studio on the second floor. And it's right next to our supermarket. So every time we drive by to go to the supermarket, Brenda would say, you should buy that place and put your law firm there. And you can have 2 offices in Rhode Island, separate places. So she must have said it over 20 times. And there was a sign for sale by owner, but I didn't jump in. And then the sign came down. And when you miss an opportunity, then you're like, oh, yeah. So, but thankfully, the only reason the seller took down the sign was he had to put in a brand new septic system in the back. So when the septic system went in, he put the sign back up. And the day that he put the sign back up, I called. And so that one it worked out perfectly. When I bought it, it was stripped to the studs. And it wasn't the studs were not thick enough to put in like regular Owens Corning Pink Panther insulation, because old school, that was like 2x4 construction instead of 2x6 or whatever the heck it was. But we we were able to pay a little extra to get that spray foam insulation, which makes the building, even though we're on a busy road, it's quiet in there. And I thought I was going to put a studio apartment upstairs, but this stylist came in and said, "Hey, I'm moving out of Wickford and I need a place." And we're like, "Well, we can look into it. It's got a bathroom with a shower, but if you want to put a one chair style, for haircuts and stuff."
Yeah.
And she took it. So we have my law firm paid me, and then the hairstylist upstairs paid me rent. So that was number two.
That's
But
awesome.
it's funny. It seems like it's a need every time, because we have a place up in East Greenwich that big shot. I was always bragging that I'd look at a property and be like, "Oh, we should buy this." But in my head, I had no intention of buying it. I was just being like cool guy talking about real estate. But our two older daughters came home, Sam and Hannah. Sam had been traveling around the world. She was in Cambodia and she moved back into the house. And Hannah graduated from college. And as soon as that happened, we had 5 kids left in the house again. And Brenda's like, "Go buy that place." So, because it had a 2-bedroom apartment on the second floor and like 4 little offices on the first floor.
Okay.
So even though I talked about it, I really never intended to. And Brenda's like, "Go buy it." And we bought it. Oh my God, that place, I think we got it. So it's like 2-bedroom upstairs and 4 small offices downstairs. It's like an old house again, typical Rhode Island, but it's right in East Greenwich proper. And we got that thing for $315,000. And I think it would appraise for like $500,000 right now.
That's
And
awesome.
it's really awesome. We have a law firm that took the first floor, and then when my daughters moved out of the second floor, they took the second floor. So we have one tenant who pays, and she's super amazing trust and estates and Medicare attorney. So I can refer her business and she refers me business. So it's a
That's
win-win.
awesome. And that's a pretty
Yeah,
solid tenant too. And that's awesome. Like they basically just took over the building because now you're just dealing with one tenant instead of potentially up to 5.
exactly. And we're not slumlords at all. So we put in 2 new heating units in it. We put in all new, it's in a historical zone, but we put in all new, brand new windows upstairs that had to be like historically correct. And that's a great building, but it's that benefit of real estate, because I was thinking about this last night. We don't even think about it, but we pay that mortgage every month. And so it's been paying down the mortgage. So you're just getting more and more equity, and it's like effortless. So I love that.
I didn't even know you had that property. That's awesome.
Yeah. So like I said, Sam and Hannah lived upstairs. It's still technically mixed use, but right now it's all being used commercial.
Yeah, it worked out great.
It worked out great.
So
So that's how it started.
like me, you kind of started out doing the solo thing slowly,
Yeah.
slow and steady before you started partnering with people. And I know
Yeah.
that is really, because kind of A, that's your specialty, and B, it's really where your real estate, leveled up. So what
So
did that
true.
journey kind of look like? What's the, I guess, short version of the leveling
Yeah.
up partner wise?
Yeah. So the book Fast Track to Millions really talks about how I used partnerships to escape the rat race and also get more properties, because as you know, I moved, we bought a 5-unit Airbnb in Roatan, Honduras, which is a Caribbean island off the coast of Honduras. And I had been, reading Robert Kiyosaki, and I play the game Cash Flow 101 and get out of the rat race and all that kind of stuff. And Brenda said, "Even though you have a title company, we're moving." So I was like, shit. So I was like, how do I
Time.
make this work? But if I'm a strong believer in having faith in the universe and manifesting things. And I said, I can manifest having a title business in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and also live in Roatan for a year. So we moved down there and lived there for a year. Lived on the top floor. Like I said, it's a 5-unit. We lived on the top floor, which was a 2-bedroom with our 2 sons and one of my daughters. And they actually went to school down there. And I was on the cell phone talking to my paralegals almost every weekday. And but at the same time, I wanted to level up. And so I started, especially through Alchemist Nation, I ended up meeting so many amazing people through Walter's group. Melanie and Steve, Kim and John, and obviously Ken Hoffman. I read a lot about him. And also, I have a friend, Franklin, who I met through Walter also. And we own 19 units up in Haverhill, Massachusetts. And he handles all the heavy lifting, and I put the money in for the biggest deal. That was my biggest deal to date. We spent $2.1 million on a 12 unit in Haverhill. And that's an amazing one. Franklin, he handles it. He speaks Spanish and English, a lot of Spanish speaking tenants. He has an amazing relationship with them. And that was my way to level up. So, sometimes I have to pinch myself, because here I am. I was in Roatan, I don't know, 2-minute walk to the beach, to Half Moon Bay. You know where it is, Mitch. Mitch has been there. Anyways,
yeah, I've been there.
But meanwhile, Franklin was happy to have the opportunity, and it's actually allowed him to level up on his own. But we have 19 units. We have a 3-unit, a 4-unit, and a 12-unit in Haverhill. And actually, Franklin turned the 3-unit into a sober house, which we're working on right now. And
Awesome.
so yeah, it was just sort of you kind of take off that way. At the same time, I have another partnership. Alex is my friend, who's a realtor in Newport, Rhode Island. And I just remember being at his office, because I'm a title attorney. So I'm talking to realtors about, hey, send me closings. Please send me closings. So I was hanging out with Alex. We became friends. And one Tuesday, I remember it was a Tuesday, we're just sitting there. He's like, hey, there's a realtor who's selling a 6-unit in Newport. Do you want to go look at it? And I was like, yeah, let's go now. I don't know. That's the universe. That's God. That's everything, because there was no hesitation. We just went over there. We met with the realtor who owned the property, and he's like, it's listed for $675. It's a 6-unit, all 1 bedrooms on Broadway, up probably like 1.5 miles from downtown Newport, just past the hospital. And he says, listen, we're down in the basement. And when I tell you, you could have eaten off the floor in this basement. There was no tenant crap. There were no bicycles. There were no tires. There was,
Wow.
none of that crap. And he had even split off the water meter into 6 sub meters that were beautiful. They looked like something out of like Jules Verne. The brass was like so beautiful. It looked like, and I was sitting there, and he's like, listen, if you don't bust my balls, I'll give you it for $670, and 5,000 off. And both Alex and I were like, bust your balls, this place is spotless. And I think we even said that to him. We said, this place is beautiful, we'll take it. And so we signed like that day. And when I tell you that when other people found out, like on the next day, there were so many people who wanted that building. And it's a 6-unit. We have 1 tenant who took it all for their employees.
Oh, wow.
So same thing. That was over years, but again, Alex crushing it, had a relationship with a hotel. So they put all their employees in there, because, if you're in Newport, it's hard for the kids to afford to live there. And same thing. Brenda's very particular about keeping the place up, having it look nice. No slumlord vibes at all.
Yeah.
And so that one allowed us. That was amazing. So we bought it for $670, and we were trying to figure out a way so we talked to our bank, and they were like, well, you can get a line of credit on top of that, because values had gone up. We had it appraised, and after 3 years it appraised for $1.1 million.
That's so awesome.
That's great.
So they gave us a $200,000 line of credit on top of it, which I used $100,000, and then I paid it back to go get something else.
Yep.
And through that agreement, that partnership, he and I bought two townhouses attached that are an Airbnb in Middletown, Rhode Island, which is right next to Newport, and they allow Airbnb. So that has 3 bedrooms on each of them with a rooftop deck that you can see First Beach in Newport. You can see the Newport Bridge.
Awesome.
And I think it goes for like $600 a night in the summertime, each one of them. So it's pretty amazing, like
Good stuff.
effortless. It's really the universe. I don't know if you can hear, but things just kind of come to me, and I jump on it. So yeah, that's
Right.
kind of
Well, so
Neville,
that's
Neville
something.
Goddard, Neville Goddard, and Esther Hicks. They all say that if
Yeah.
you're at the right vibration, things come to you, and you don't even have to go get them. So I'm super
So how do you
blessed.
put yourself in the right vibration then? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So we're constantly practicing things. You can see my vision board behind me. We're constantly reading books or listening to Audible that talk about mindset. And recently, this is more recent. We went to see Joe Dispenza. We did a 7-day advanced retreat. I loved it so much that I still haven't taken off my band. I also have Walter's 100 Millionaires, by the way.
Nice.
But since we got back from that retreat on July 8th, we have meditated and did a guided meditation by Joe Dispenza every single day. It's over an hour. And I will tell you, more than anything I'm talking about here, my real estate thing, if you ever get a chance to go to his retreat, it was life-changing. I mean, literally, I'm a different person, physically, DNA, blood, urine, all that stuff. They said you change in 7 days. It's like, but that's not what caused that. But it was all that stuff. It was just working on mindset. I mean, I could just turn my computer. You can see, whoa, we got all sorts of books. See the books there? Those are all like mindset books. There's more books over there. Mindset. Upstairs, we just constantly, like Jeff Bezos, I definitely spent a lot on Amazon with all the books, but it's, and then when you start talking to people like even Andrew talks about Neville Goddard and posts stuff like that. When you start getting into that flow of other people, like right now, Walter is completely obsessed with Neville Goddard. It's probably because Andrew and I were talking about Neville Goddard so much. So,
Right. Well, it's nice. I like Neville Goddard and I fully resonate with everything he says, but there's an actionable, like putting those principles into practice to maintain that faith. You know what I'm saying? It's to maintain that level of faith is not something that you see most people doing. So
no,
it's
that's where this meditation has come in. It's every day. We do an abundance meditation, and I told Mitch this every day since we've been doing it. Some opportunity has come up every single day, and I'm not talking like minor things like I found $5. I'm talking about real things. Like I'm opening a title company in Ocala right now, and so I'll get calls from people down there sending me deals. That's crazy. So I'm once you start believing and you start seeing the results, it gets easier. I mean, every day something has come up, either with my office here with Blay Title or down there in Ocala. So yeah, I recommend it. Joe Dispenza, if you go to his website, there's an abundance meditation. I think it costs like $30, but if you ever get a chance to go to his 7-day retreat, I mean, things are happening to people that are way more than making a little bit of money. There's people who are going there with cancer and stage 4 cancer, that kind of thing. And after they leave the 7-day retreat, they go back to their doctor and all the tumors are gone. So it's magical. And I love it. I love the mystical. So it's fun. Yeah. So
interesting. And that's all through meditation, more or less.
all through meditation. We went for 7 days. I thought it was just going to be, like typical speaker, like Tony Robbins up on stage, talking to you, telling you stuff and doing stuff. We ended up doing 7 days. We got there at 4:00 on a Sunday. We left at 2:00 the next Saturday. And during that time, we did 35 hours of meditation. And 35 freaking hours, including one meditation that I felt like it was like less than 2 hours. And it ended up being 4 hours and 50 minutes. And I swear to you, it was like it just went. It was amazing. It was amazing. And it's all meditation, but Joe Dispenza sprinkles in the meditation with the scientific proof of what's happening. They have the biggest scientific study on meditation in the world. They're showing all the different things that I was telling you, like they have people in the back having brain waves tested, people give urine, people give blood, just showing all the things that change. And these are things that are changing in 7 days. I kid you not. I saw a guy, this is going to make me cry, but I saw a guy who had multiple sclerosis in a wheelchair, and on day 4 stood up and walked across the room. He hadn't walked in 3 years. It's just amazing. So yeah, gotta go. Advanced retreat. I tried to sign up for the next one, sold out. There's like 1,850 people in the room and sold out. And then the next one, so there's one Marco Island, and then Vienna, Austria also sold out. So
I mean, all this, kind of lends to, just, mindset in general, right?
Yeah,
so, whether you can make an event or not, but it's like, I think you see a common theme amongst most people that are, I think, not only doing well in life, but even living a life that they kind of dreamed of, is a lot of it starts with the mindset, right? And, gratitude, and just, whether it's whatever tools used, whether it's meditation, whether it's, just gratitude,
all the things, as you say.
Exactly. All the things.
We started with Hal Elrod's, the Miracle Morning.
Miracle Morning, yeah.
So we're doing silence, we were doing affirmations, we were doing visualization, we were doing the exercise, we were doing the reading, and we were doing the journaling, the saver, what he called his lifesavers. And even now, so on my computer, Brenda has made these little things. This one says imagine if. She has a what's it called, the machine that she prints them out on the computer, and then she what's it called, they got the plastic
laminate
on it. Yeah, laminate. She has a laminating machine. And then the other one on my computer says you can do it.
You can do it.
Since you guys have both been to Dorina's, you saw those on the cabinets.
Yeah.
That came from Brenda. We used to have them all over our cabinets before we moved to Roatan. So I think that, let me just back up. Okay. So I was doing closings and I was making like 72 grand a year. Okay. Everybody thinks lawyers make so much money, but I was driving around Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island just doing closings. And what I was listening to at the time was 2 Boston sports radio stations.
Well, that just sounds like misery to me.
Yeah, for you. But it was like, I could tell you like who the new wide receiver was for the Patriots, and what they were doing, and what Bill Belichick was doing, and Tom Brady, and this fight and that fight. And somewhere along the line, it dawned on me that this was a complete waste of time. Unless you're Tom Brady or you're Bill Belichick, how does that add to my life in any way whatsoever? So somewhere along the line, I started listening to Bigger Pockets. And in the end, I listened to over 150 Bigger Pockets episodes. I used to call Brenda. I joke around because episode 274 of the Real Estate Podcast is an attorney who had a corner office, super successful, but wasn't happy. And he started doing real estate investing. And now I think he and his partner have like over 1,000 units in Manhattan. I mean, that's freaking serious.
Legit.
And he wrote the book. His name is Paul. I can't remember his last name, but the book is called Wealth Can't Wait. And so whenever I tell a story about Bigger Pockets, I pick up the phone, I call Brenda. I said, Brenda, episode 274, you have to listen to it. And so I was like totally into it. And he tells this story about, when a neighborhood is turning when someone walks out of one of the brownstones with a cello. He said, because it was like New York City, sketchy neighborhood, I think. And then he saw a guy with a cello. So you knew that
he knew the Starbucks was coming.
Yeah, exactly. And so I started doing that. And I started going to because of that, I started going to the RIA meeting, Rhode Island Real Estate Investors meeting. And that's where I ran into Gwalter. And unbeknownst to me, Gwalter has a rule. He has to be the last one to leave, or at least he used to. So it's like 10:30 on a Thursday night, and he wouldn't leave. And I'm like, who's this guy with a fedora and a red vest? What a cheeseball. And he was looking at me like, who's this guy in a suit and tie, at 11 o'clock at 10:30 at night? And he's like, hey, I have this group. We meet in Fall River at my real estate office on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. And we just talk about real estate. I said, because even though I'm a closing attorney, I'd really like to learn how to invest. So I started going to this meeting, and there was a few of us. It was a cold, dank office. Sometimes there'd be like 10 of us, including Andrew. And sometimes there'd be like 40 people. There were like wholesalers and stuff like that. But Walter had all the things, all the technology. Like he's holding up his phone and he's talking to someone. He's like, hey, Josh, good to see you. And I'm like, who the fuck is he talking to? Because I had no idea, like, any of this stuff. But as soon as that started happening, that's when the foundational 5, which are the 5 books that Walter recommends you start with, which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Think and Grow Rich, and the Science of Getting Rich. Science of Getting Rich. So I started reading those or listening to them on Audible. I had already read the first one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then, like I said, those opportunities with Brenda's mom's, we call it Nana's Shack, that little 430 square foot, and all the other ones, opportunities started coming. So it's where your focus goes, your energy flows. I said that for like 20 or 30 years, and I didn't even know what it meant. I just kind of said it, and then
manifesting before you knew you were manifesting.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things like that we say in life that are just sort of quotes that we throw out, and then because of this journey, and I mean, it sounds like I'm blowing smoke, but because of Alchemist Nation, it really kind of took me to another level, because I was focused on that. And I found a kindred spirit in Walter, because we both believed in manifesting and in having what you see about, you bring about, what that he said that. And so we were reading like the same books. And so suddenly you're like, holy shit, this is the way. So it became, that's where the real estate, that's where the partnership, he even pushed me into writing the book. Jen's Pens had never had a client. I was like, I'll be your first client. I want to write a book. So we wrote, Fast Track to Millions, and it's awesome.
That's awesome. Inaugural client. Yeah, and they've written dozens and dozens of books for people now.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And for me, I've gotten up over 50 units, and then we sold some. And like I said, international. We bought the place in Roatan. My daughter runs it, and it's crazy. Like there are 4 1-bedrooms down there, and we get like mailbox money like all the time. Like every day somebody's checking it. We just had somebody who booked for 51 days.
What?
Yeah, they're like April. Yeah, right. April through May of next year, they're booked already.
Wow.
So it's just and like the one, like
it was me, Mike. It was me. I decided I wanted to stay in Roatan for like a month and a half.
Man. And even the one in Middletown, last year we had gross sales in the summertime of over 150,000 on the 2-unit Airbnb. So it's kind of like we became accidental Airbnb. Although the one in Middletown, we do not manage. We have a professional manager, and we pay her, and she does a great job. And that's another one that we don't think about. I mean,
well, if that just isn't the Middletown dream,
right? Middletown dream, and we love Rush. So there you go.
random song title.
Yeah. So I'm totally blessed. And Andrew, back to your thing about what do? I really think it's gratitude. For like 40 something years, I didn't even know you were supposed to be grateful. And I was listening to the Science of Getting Rich, which Walter and I had this thing where we listen to it every single Sunday. It takes less than 2 hours. And Wallace Waddle says, if you don't know about gratitude, then consider it well, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And that was chapter 7 of Science of Getting Rich, talks about gratitude. And if you stay grateful, you cannot be bitter. You can't do the two things at once. So I think being grateful for what we have. I sent Mitch a thing by Chris Duncan the other day where he says, I'm so grateful for everything I have, and I also want more. I'm so grateful. It's like an affirmation thing. And that's just one of like 6 things that he stacks. But it's so true. I mean, I have this house in North Kingstown that is just such a blessing to have this place. It's like our little oasis. And then we have a place down in Roatan. And then I have these amazing partners who go out and crush it. And so I think if you stay grateful all the time, or as much as you can, then you'll you'll be successful.
It's so true. You can't be in one or the other at the same time. Because sometimes I'll give myself an excuse to not be grateful in the moment because I'm grateful most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm grateful, but not right now.
Also, what is it?
Right.
I think Tony Robbins always says you can't be grateful and angry at the same time.
Mm.
But yeah, you basically can't be grateful and like, some other opposite emotion at the same time.
Yeah. I don't want you to think that it's I'm a finished product because I work on this stuff every day. And that story about driving around and doing the bigger pockets, it also became listening to Audible books. And so if you catch me, I have a Tesla. I don't know if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with Tesla in every way. But if you catch me in my car driving to work, which is now only a 4-minute drive, yes.
Hey.
It's I'm always listening to most of the time it's a mindset book. Right now, I was showing Mitch this. I'm reading right now, Finding Ultra, which is Rich Roll. This is an amazing story. I get most of my inspiration from books. Think and Grow Rich, we're doing right now. And another one, Bob Proctor's You Were Born Rich, are 3 like. So that's what I'm working on right now. So whenever I'm like talking to people in Alchemist Nation, I'm always saying, get the books, because they all say the same thing. Like Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks says the same thing as Eckhart Tolle, as Neville Goddard, as Joe Dispenza. They just say it in a different way so that it hits a different way. And
Yep.
I can't tell you who the Patriots wide receiver is now. We have moved on.
There you go. The Pats lost a fan, but Mike Schein leveled up in life.
Still a fan, but I usually watch like a 3-minute replay instead of spend 3 hours Sunday.
Wait for the playoffs if they make it.
Right.
So what's like the new main focus or goal then? Like what's this all leading towards? Like with the Joe Dispenza, you got the real estate, you're growing your congratulations. I know you just opened another law office, I believe. And like what's the goal for you if that's not too personal of a question?
No, I have goal cards that I got from listening to Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret. Like I carry this around all the time. Little gold card that has my goal. My goal right now is to have over $1 million a month in passive income from multiple sources. And that's what they call in Bob Proctor's world a C-type goal. It's a big, hairy goal, whatever you want to call it. But I'm doing it from the real estate. There's also some other investments out there that are a little bit more risky, but they're but so doing that kind of stuff. I also have just a general goal of getting down to a certain weight that's on a card, and being in the best shape possible. So Brenda and I walk, run, mountain bike all the time. So that's like the physical goal. I do have as part of, I'm in this group, I think I told you, the Elite 100. And as part of that, they have let me see if I can find the chart. Oh yeah. So here's this chart, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's all the different areas of life. And you can grade yourself on this little sheet between 0 and 10. And so the different areas are romance, personal growth, fun and recreation, spirituality, philanthropy, physical environment, business, career, finances, health, and family and friends. So my goal is kind of looking at these things. So once a month, you take a thing, you say, well, like, I have an amazing relationship. My coach told me that my relationship with Brenda is 1 in a million. So I would put that romance at like a 10, but maybe like my finances is like a 6. So if you use the wheel, you kind of get a sense of where you need to improve and so I'm working on all
Just
those
maximize
areas,
every area of life.
optimize
That's so,
everything.
that's
And
awesome.
it's kind of interesting because I was talking to my coach and he was saying that, we overemphasize money, especially when you have like concerns with money. But it's like, if you looked at the 10 areas, you're like crushing it in all these other areas and you're minimizing that. And the truth is, I don't live a very fancy life. Like, I'm not one of those people who wants a what's it, a Ferrari or any of that stuff. I love to travel, and that's what we plan on doing, is traveling with my two youngest, Noah and Jonah. So that's kind of the goal, is just to be able to go away again, but still run the title company. And also, Alchemist Nation, got to give Walter credit for that. Build a business to sell a business. So I'm going to build this title business up so that I can find a young attorney who wants a real opportunity, and I'm going to, give it to them and move on to more of the travel. We want to go to Thailand. I want to go to Machu Picchu. Brenda's never been to Paris. We love Amsterdam. So all the places, all the places.
Nice,
That's all.
nice. And
Yeah.
another place you're going to be is in Orlando in November,
Right.
speaking at the 100 Millionaires Summit. I believe you'll be dropping some knowledge on partnerships to those that are wise enough to attend the 100 Millionaires Summit.
Yeah, it's
So,
gonna be fun. I love that. That's a fun weekend. Yep.
oh, always is, always is. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you speak again and just getting to hang
Me
out.
too. Yeah.
Yes, yes. We'll be
It's
apparently
gonna
on
be.
stage as well, dropping whatever knowledge I
Are you,
can.
the key question is, are you wearing the shoes this year?
Apparently you said I have to, so I
No,
gotta I gotta
it's
find
your choice.
I gotta get a t-shirt that matches because the goal is to go TED Talk style, t-shirt and jeans. So
Oh,
that's why I'm
nice.
getting in shape for the summit, 100 Millionaire Summit.
Yeah,
Big
nice job. Hey,
um
I did want to say one more thing, Andrew. I am totally blessed to have Brenda as my wife, because she's like my live-in guru. Like, she reads way more than anybody on all this stuff, and she's always course correcting me in the right way, in a very kind way. But one of the things she always says is that we should spend our life being light workers, and that means just be a light for other people. So I think one of my other goals is to just leave myself out of it. Like, it's not, you get what is it? You get everything you want as long as you help everyone. That's like Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar. You can get everything you ever want in life by helping other people get what they want.
yep.
So whenever she says be a light worker, my inner being, my lights up. There is something that my subconscious or my inner being just absolutely loves about that phrase, and doing that. So being of service to other people, I tell you, my greatest joy whenever I go to the summit is when somebody's a newbie and they come up to me and ask me a question, and I can add value to their life in a fun, light way, where they're not getting like a stress headache over buying a 3 family. It's not about that. This is supposed to be fun. We're on this earth to have a good time. And so being a light worker is probably my
That's
big.
awesome.
Yeah.
Essentially a beacon of light. So,
Hey,
well,
exactly.
you talked about all those different areas, in terms of life and how there's like 10 of them and everyone kind of like focuses more on money and a lot of people are, depressed with life because they're not doing well in the money aspect, but they might not even realize they're crushing it in like 7 of the other aspects. And this holds true
Exactly.
of relationships too. Like you have
Yep.
ingredients in a relationship and it's like you might actually be crushing it in many of those ingredients, but you're only focused on like the one that is not great. And then you
Exactly.
go from a state of gratitude to that, state of like lack, and it makes you
Yeah.
unhappy. So,
You gotta switch that up, because what I
yeah,
found, let's say you're not happy about something financial, but if you switch it up and say, but I go to the gym every day and biceps are huge. And I mean, Esther Hicks would say, get 17 seconds of that gratitude that you're doing great in that area and just build that momentum.
Yes.
And that will lead to all the other areas improving. I mean, it's working for me. There's, life is not perfect every day, but there's areas that you're just crushing it. I don't know. I go in the woods with my mountain bike and I'm going down like hills on these trails, and oh my God, nothing feels better than that. It's just, I don't know if that's the little kid in me. I've always ridden bikes. I love it.
Found your happy place.
Yeah, they do it for like adults. I've got 29-inch wheels and front shocks and back shocks, and you crush it, and then you go over roots and rocks, and it's just a blast. It's just a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
So normally we'd ask, how Alchemist Nation's impacted your life, but I feel like that's been part of the theme of the podcast, which worked out great.
I'm totally grateful.
So,
totally grateful.
And as am I, because live Alchemist Nation, you and I have
we would
never have met. And that would have not been ideal.
You too,
life is better with the Scheins around. And
Andrew was old school. He was in that cold
this is true.
Office.
Yeah. I come from Fall River.
Yeah.
I gotta buy more.
This is like
I'm getting a little bit of FOMO, not gonna lie.
It's like an Origins episode. But yeah, so we gotta get to wrapping it up. And
cool.
Mike, obviously he's got the book Fast Track to Millions. You can find it on Amazon. And that really, really will help people level up when it comes to partnerships and how to, leverage partnerships to, not only create more for yourself, but also more for others. And, creating win-win scenarios, which I always talk about, love win-win scenarios.
Totally.
If you do any deals in Florida, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Mike and his company Blade Title is a badass closing attorney, and he's done most of my deals, and I just closed 2 through Mike over the last month as part of my Massachusetts stuff. So definitely reach out.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Mike, what's the best way for people to contact you if they want to reach out?
Yes, so you can go to www.mikesbizcard, MIKESBIZCARD, mikesbizcard.com.
That's awesome.
And that has all the things. It has the social media. You can send me a message, mikesbizcard.com.
Perfect. Doesn't get any easier than that.
Yeah, right.
Well, totally appreciate you jumping on with us.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure, Mike.
And
until next time.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. Nice to see you guys. Peace.
You too.
See you at the summit. See you at the summit.
See you all at the summit.